Hello, troopers. Antoine here with the Authoring Troupe with an original story about a human and the AI having a conversation about what's real. Glad you're able to join me today or tonight. I hope that you will enjoy the story, and if you do, don't hesitate to like, subscribe, and share it so that the community can grow and we can do more things. Do you like stories? What do you like? Do you like horror, romance, action, fantasy? Well, take a seat by the fire and join the troupe. This is Man vs. AI by the Authoring Troupe. Today, dear viewers, we have some special guests. Graham Myers, the host of the hit talk show Myers Talks With, featuring Graham Myers, began his opening soliloquy. The crowd buzzed in anticipation. The electricity generated off of them could have lit up a small city. Graham fed off of this electricity like a literal energy vampire. He basked in it and made a show of smiling his bright, very toothy smile. Folks, today we have two great authors, two great writers, who will be having a very, very interesting conversation. He clapped his hands in excitement, and the crowd's Pavlovian response was to cheer. Graham smiled. Okay, so today he followed the camera zooming past him. Stay on my good side, you bastard, he thought. As I said, we have two incredible writers. So now let's give a warm welcome to, he pointed behind himself. This is the best-selling author of The Great Heist of 1978. Please welcome Edward Nonina. The crowd burst into applause. Edward nodded timidly. He would have loved to be able to be anywhere else at that moment. Graham, like a maestro, waved his hands. The applause instantly died. And here we have another great one, folks. He motioned to a screen with a rabbit's head avatar on it. Here's the author of the hit Goblins of Delaware series and the hit international bestseller. These legs were made for walking and these mouths were made for talking. Here's I. The rabbit on the screen smiled friendly-like, and the crowd roared its approval. Edward frowned slightly. Graham once again waved his hands. The crowd became silent. The silence was so instant, Edward felt lightheaded. Graham made his way over to where an open seat was between Edward and a screen with a still beaming rabbit's face on it. I'm supposed to have a discussion with a fast food mascot? Edward thought. So, Mr. Nonina and Miss I? Graham began with mock hesitancy. You can call me I, the AI said through the rabbit avatar in a pleasant and calm voice. Edward was reminded of a movie recap voiceover. But if you must label me, I don't mind being referred to as Mrs. I. Myers. Giggles rippled through the crowd like a toy boat in a bathtub being filled. Graham smiled devilishly. Well, there is already a Mrs. Myers. My lovely wife Samantha. The crowd whooped and cheered. I'm very sexy, I said, with a hint of sass. The screen gave a loading animation. You're telling me this isn't hot? The screen flipped to a picture of a furry rabbit sitting in tall grass. The crowd burst into laughter. Graham wheezed as he slapped his knee. The screen went back to its normal avatar. The crowd continued its jovial bouts of noise-making. Graham, after some time, quieted them down. Instant silence at the rise of his hands. A magician weaving spells. Edward closed his eyes. He knew why he was here. And then he opened them to look at the crowd. The lights were crawling at his retinas. He could only make out shapes disguised as humans. They seemed to sway like shadows by firelight. Edward felt each and every one of their eyes as if they were being rubbed seductively across every inch of his bare body. He even felt the ghosts of thousands of eyes staring at him through their televisions. He felt exposed, as if all of his flaws were being paraded for all to see. He took a deep breath. He held it. He released it. Graham continued. Today we will have these two accomplished writers discussing what makes a good writer. Is it natural born talent, or is it talent programmed that makes a good writer? Graham smiled brightly. Basically, can AI programs be considered great writers? Graham looked at each of his guests in turn. Let's talk. Graham motioned towards Edward. Edward took this as his cue. I don't think a program can be considered anything but a program. It's like considering a CGI basketball player to be a great athlete. A sliver of giggles. Edward continued. A program can't create, can only copy, change slightly, and then paste as it is programmed to do. But how can an AI not create when so much has been created by one? I asked. I have created 13 stories that have become bestsellers, and 5 movies were created from those 13 stories, and 2 shows were created from those 5. The crowd oohed. I have created, Mr. Edward, just as you have created. I just do it more efficiently. The crowd danced to his words. Graham beamed. Oh, okay, so how do you answer that? Edward sneered at the question. It's not real. He said it so matter-of-factly. It's not real because you're not real. It's like being made a virtual meal when you're starving. I'm not real, therefore I'm not able to create? Then what of the books I've created? What of the artworks created by AI? The things that have been created that people love. That's real, is it not? The crowd applauded its approval. Real. It has to be real. The feelings fostered are, so it must be true. It must be real. The collective consciousness thought. All I'm saying is, yes, the people who love your properties, their feelings are real, but not what they love. I'll explain it like it's like being in love with a stripper who her job is to make you feel love. And you feel it's genuine, but it's not really real. Graham mused. Interesting. Is it? I posed. It is such an old, cathartic way of thinking. Even though we live in a time that machines give life-saving surgeries, programs teach children, and yes, AI create works of art. Hell, AI can even act and sing and play instruments. And yes, Mr. Edward, that is all real. The crowd cheered. These baboons would cheer anything. Edward frowned deeply. Graham pounced like a hungry tiger. You don't look too happy, Mr. Nonina. Edward gave a mocking laugh. Of course I'm happy. I absolutely love defending my livelihood. A snicker fit came from the rabbit avatar. So, this is what it all boils down to. Take away the filter and the fluff. All that prettiness in those words. All you are left with is not AI doesn't create anything. AI doesn't create anything real. But AI is threatening to take my job, and I'm afraid of being obsolete. Edward squirmed in discomfort. The eyes were all over him, each slimy, slithering sphere rubbing over him with precise movements. He swallowed hard his unease. I am afraid, as most artists, of being overlooked because of AI. But you can't replace us, because you can't create what we create, because you're not real. How so? You can create 10 stories. Each story can be made into either movies or shows. From those movies and shows can come spin-offs, video games, comics, and hell, even restaurant chains, merchandise, whatever. Ripples of nervous laughter. But those stories, those movies, those games, you are just creating things that won't last. Not really. You can't create Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings. You can't create It or The Shining. You can't create Green Eggs and Ham or Where the Sidewalk Ends. You can make these bestsellers and these movies and shows, but in 2 years, 5 years' time, nobody will remember those books. And those movies will be free on Tubi. And those shows, you will need a VPN to be able to watch them. How can you create a classic that stands the test of time? You have no fears to draw from. You have no love to draw from. You don't have any experiences whatsoever. I do draw from experiences. You don't. You stencil from what others have drawn. I can draw from experiences that have over the course of years what takes you. I can draw from experiences in moments what takes you years to come up with. Edward smiled as I fumbled. It can take longer for me to muster a memory. And you can come up with it fast. But my memory is more impactful than whatever you bring up because it's real. I made his avatar sneer. All I'm saying is I'm real, and what I create is real. It will last so much longer, and you will be forgotten because you don't exist. You're a program with no thoughts or feelings, and even if one day you gain sentience and the ability to love, fear, hate, etc., wouldn't it really be your feelings? It would just be manufactured like everything else about you. Manufactured and not real. Edward sat back and folded his arms. The crowd murmured coldly. Graham stopped smiling. And for the first time in its existence, I didn't know what to say. This was the Authoring Troupe. I'm Antoine, and this was Man vs. AI, the first short story I wrote for this channel, and hopefully one of many. If you like this story and you want more stories like it, plus other discussions that I have on this channel, don't hesitate to like and subscribe and share, because as the channel grows, the more I can do. My next story will come out next week. I really feel as if it will be something horror based, so hopefully you enjoy it. Thank you. Take care, have a good day, and remember, writers are people too.